Chill here with Sirius Dallas Moon, and this is the third episode for today. A little bit of predictions. We talked about the connection between media and basically child trafficking cults and the use of religious infrastructure to traffic people and launder that to infiltrate sovereign nations or the declarations of independence of newly sovereign nations and global organizations. Right now, I want to talk about a little bit of a different topic. We have Mars 22 in Capricorn squares Chiron. Mercury in Capricorn is about to oppose Jupiter. And these are big media eurekas, as bonds and all those things, of course, but a little bit of a different topic. And this is staying relevant at the age of Aquarius with all the technological wave-based, with waves being weaponized. And Neptune Aries is a very literally waves being weaponized. Um, while I made, like many, the mistakes of charging my phone at sleep, which is more terrible than a lot of types of radiations, okay? Uh, when we talk about waves being weaponized, of course, we're talking about radio waves. The fact that scattering radio waves is a part of basically self-defense and or attack. We saw that in Greece and in Amsterdam this week or 2 weeks, where because of radio issues, entire airports fell flat. Now, that's enough for a couple of targeted individuals having to negate the wave frequencies used against them, which are used to traffic people. Like I said today morning, the case in Israel was exposed, an Iran-like trafficking ring. And of course, wave energy is a part of the things that are being used to traffic people. And of course, when people have to fight for their lives and scatter wave energies, an airport can go into shutdown. That's the okay. MK Ultra did not use the word butterfly effect over nothing. A teenage youth or Gen Z are protecting themselves from technological um, uh, wave-based frequencies that are used to target them. Scattering the frequencies as best they can shut down an airport in Amsterdam. Okay? The fact that waves are associated with Neptune really tells us that there is um, unexpected losses and miraculous healings happening with the Saturn Neptune. Now, when we are talking about media that is wave reliant, this is one of the things that we can think about as a challenge, regardless of AI, to anything media reliant. And now every business has to have a media presence in this day and age, and I'd even say more so, has to be a global business. It's very difficult to have a business model in a global economy that is a local business. Um, okay, and even protection business and organized crime business and extortion cults are global, which is why when I talk about Israel, Iran, like, the reason I mention Israel and Iran is not because I go against Israel or Iran. It's because I see it as a study case for considerations for declaration of independence. Just like I talk about the astrological ones, sovereignty in the face of extortion cults is the biggest challenge to anything sovereign, from a nation to a local business. Now, another consideration is AI is not making people-based broadcasting or content creation challenged as much as we think, because people are actually craving for people to people. And therein lies the issue. With the use of technological wave-based, or the weaponization of waves, and wave-based technologies, and Aries is also individuals. Okay, unfortunately, Aries is also regarding targeting individuals, which are civilians. It's the militarization of the individual as much as it is military. And okay, anything going through Aries is basically going through the frequency of self-reliance, which is why both Neptune, which is having to surrender the ability to be self-reliant, and Chiron, and it's also the fact that if people need, let's say, hospital or care during Neptune in Aries, they need to surrender the ability to receive care, and sometimes ask themselves, was it actually better that they didn't have a doctor, because the doctor's doctrine was not really in favor of patients? Now, those trafficking scandals create situations where the relevant content creators are going to be those that talk about this. Even if you're an activist, even if you are acting in favor of humanity, nobody's going to really put their faith in you when you don't address the things that need to be addressed. Now, that can happen on a broadcasting level, and it can happen on an telepathic level, or astral or psychic level. Okay, a lot of people can't talk about stuff, but they can send energy healing that's actually healing or shielding, and so on and so forth. And so the people that are going to be relevant are going to be the people that talk about these things. Okay, when we talk about anything with major outer planets in Aries, anything media will have to take into account the outer planets. In fact, Neptune going through Aquarius in the 1990s was the internet boom. So, one of the challenges, and I saw it in the field of astrology, it's not the channelers with which the channels with millions of views, or the celebrity channels that are going to get that people are going to watch during uh, Neptune in Aries. It may be because of the dissociating factors of war, but even then, people are going to actually need, yes, both to dissociate, but also, as we can rely less and less on that which where we go to dissociate to. This is why extortion cults are trying to capitalize. But this capitalization, or as I stated in another episode, you're not watching porn, porn is watching you. Porn is an extortion cult that use dark occult and technology to target the very people that watch it or consume it. And again, I'm being incredibly naive here on purpose, because I'm talking about the common people. Okay, I'm not talking about the people that traffic people, or that participate in ritual abuse, or those type of academic people. Those trafficking rings, of course, they operate also in academia, because this is a juncture that affects basically scholarly thought, policies, medical policies, and so on and so forth. There was a dentistry torture room in Epstein Island. Probably somebody had to get their dentistry certification going through that island so that they are trusted to cooperate, because now they're filmed as a dentist and their license as a doctor is standing in the face of Epstein family, not just Jeffrey, which controlled the media conglomerate. Now think national security. Don't traffic people. The people that go for zero rape society always have a true and cohesive information. The people that are reliant on information and participate in trafficking get fractured and fractured. And now in the AI age, people are going to seek the people that do talk about things. If there is two channels of astrology, one of them talking very eloquently about astrology, and the world events that they cover are the cover-up news. One of them is talking about the extortion calls, the energy weapons used against people, the frequency in occult that MK often, that is training even other astrologers. The certification processes. And they're giving a reading. Who would you listen to first? When it's wartime and you actually need to know what's going on. That's what they mean when they say Pluto in Aquarius is the underdog age. It's not the underdogs that traffic people and call themselves underdogs. It's the people that, let's say we talk about astrology, it's the people that had to astrology for their life and now they tell you, no, Aries is not LGBTQ. It's cloning project. And next to that LGBTQ, like it or not, they want to put a P. If you're in favor of LGBTQ rights, do something about that. Because the point is to get you associated with the P. If you don't act against forced gender change, how will you get gender affirming care that is not a Dr. Mengele? Extortion call doesn't ask you red or blue, just as they didn't ask you Bolshevism or capitalism. Now, that's more than the challenge of AI, is the challenge of broadcasting, where people are going to want the information that informations and the people that people. And radio waves are going to be beyond chaotic, because necessity is the mother of innovation. And when I see people, energy weapon used against them, to traffic them, to promise them that if they will do this or that, the torture would stop, and so on and so forth. 1 in 10,000 is enough to create a radio that negates that, and people are going to be creating because it's necessity where it's going to breed that innovation. Now, when a person around the block has to defend themselves for trafficking, let's say somebody decides on the mechanism where to draw an A bomb, not to draw an A bomb, and they allocate it to artificial intelligence that has to communicate with the brain waves of the people that press the red button. If that's interfered, boom! It sounds like sci-fi because who will talk to you about what technologies when we're talking about warfare technologies and the plan is not use them against civilians of whichever country. People that are busy power tripping, whether it's about being incels or power tripping thinking they have the power over technology, that's the biggest bubble pop. Because in Aries, people will not be motivated to kill. They will be motivated to sovereign. This is why they say Ares, god of war, is associated with Aries. Scorpio is motivated by deep emotional transformation. A Scorpio can go to avenge someone and find themselves besties with them. I'm not joking. That's the deacons of Scorpio. Aries is different in the sense that is not motivated by killing others, but by acting in self-interest, healthy, sovereign self. This is why the sun exalts in Aries. It's the assertion of the I am. It's a declaration of independence. Every planet going through Aries is having a declaration of independence. Chiron going through Aries was the wounded healer having a declaration of independence. How many people since 2018 did you hear say the words, I am my best doctor? Which would be the best antidote to the Mengele scenarios that are happening in the world. How many people were confronted, and I don't mean even COVID, were confronted with having to be their best doctor? Now Saturn rules teeth. This is why Saturn is not doing well in Aries, because we would need to trust our dentist. But if we can't even trust anything because of extortion cult, it's not the government, it's anything. The government just one study case of something that's infiltrated from the Declaration of Independence, which was what I woke up to today when the moon was crossing over the Chiron of the Declaration of Independence of the State of Israel. Just one study case out of many. Within the Declaration state, there were already infiltrators that trafficked people. And like I said, they don't traffic people, they torture people to regression to child state, and they traffic that. And it's funded by classified projects budget of every single nation and not nation.
age of air. Who do you think people are going to listen to? The financial channels that talk about all nice history of things, or the people that talk about what's behind the money? Why do they do these rituals? To keep people at perpetual trauma state that is making them susceptible to mind control, and to preserve that state. Having a war, okay, and I broadcasted through one, knowing that is a completely different experience, and I was repetitively tortured. The reason people that escape human trafficking have diplomatic immunity, because we didn't agree to kidnap your children. We didn't agree to commit crimes against humanity through torture. That the fact that other people did is because they were the soft skull in torture system, absolutely true. But if you're not aware of that because you're too congested with the shame of, I don't know, watching porn or I don't know what, then you're not crossing through the threshold of basically being grounded aware in a situation that allows you to alleviate addiction.